All right, we got a full house in the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast today. We got aka Heel Synergy, we got Famous B in the house, and we have MTG. We got an obscene amount of things to talk about in the world of professional wrestling, man. We got WWE Crown Jewel just finished up. We have AEW WrestleDream happening this weekend. We got to talk about UFC 320, couple new world champions, one in TNA and one in New Japan. Too much stuff. I guess we can never have too much wrestling. Let's get into it, guys. The first eventful show in last week was NXT Showdown, which saw a huge showdown with NXT and TNA. We actually got to see the Hardys become double tag team champions on this show, as the Hardys are now the TNA World and NXT Tag Team Champions. What better tag team to go on and represent this big collaboration between NXT and TNA at this level? Very exciting stuff. We also got to see some huge tag team matches with Team TNA on the men's side defeating Team NXT, and then Team NXT on the women's side defeating Team TNA. Very fun stuff, very interesting stuff. And if that wasn't enough, this show also went head to head with AEW Dynamite Title Tuesday, which saw all champions defending their championships retain. And if that wasn't enough, we also saw the Hurt Syndicate face Ricochet and the Gates of Agony in a 3-versus-3 street fight. Just a crazy Tuesday in the world of professional wrestling last week. Another awesome match we saw before we get into the meat and potatoes of this show was on SmackDown, as Aleister Black defeated Damian Priest in a last man standing match with the help of his wife, Zelina Vega. Very exciting for Aleister Black. I think it's time to see him featured more prominently on SmackDown as he gets the huge win against Damian Priest. And now we get into Crown Jewel, which took place for us Americans on Saturday morning, as the show was in Perth, Australia, crowning 2025's Crown Jewel champions, with the women's champion being Stephanie Vaquer, who defeated Tiffany Stratton, and the men's champion being Seth Rollins, who defeated Cody Rhodes in what was a fantastic match. I'm going to have my boy Famous B talk a little bit about Crown Jewel, share his thoughts, and we can have a nice conversation. What stood out on this Crown Jewel card, Famous B, outside of the Crown Jewel Championship matches themselves?
All right, guys. Hey, good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday wherever you are, and of course, yeah, let's talk about the Crown Jewel Women's and Men's Championship that took place between Stephanie Valkyrie, Tiffany Stratton, and of course Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Breaking down the women, I tell you what, it was everything that we thought it was supposed to be. The women's division's on fire. You guys saw how it took place, how it transpired. It was very energetic, and Stephanie Valkyrie is at the high level that she is. She's proving why she wants to be the Raw Women's Champion. When you talk about Tiffany Stratton, who's very athletic, we saw two athletic women going at it, and I firmly believe that Stephanie Valkyrie was going to win that belt and become the Crown Jewel champion. Not to say that Tiffany Stratton, is not going to be holding multiple championships. And, she could have very well won the women's Crown Jewel championship. But Stephanie Valkyrie, to me, is on another high level. I think she's going a long way in WWE. And, overall, the match was very exciting and entertaining. And congratulations to Stephanie Valkyrie. Let's talk about the men. The Crown Jewel Championship between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. As you guys know, Cody Rhodes was 3-0 against Seth Rollins in their prior matches. It was pretty clear cut and dry that Seth Rollins was going to win this match and become the 2025 Men's Crown Jewel Champion. Again, it was a match that we were not to be shocked about. Again, we've seen him previously fight 3 times. It's just at the end of the day, this was just another match, not for their championships, but for the Crown Jewel Championship. And we got what we wanted. And congratulations to Seth Rollins. He is now your 2025 Crown Jewel Champion.
Yeah. Other notable matches being Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight, as we see Bronson Reed get the huge victory against Roman Reigns. And this is great for Reed, right? Who gets a well deserved big win in this humongous match. And I'm excited to see what they do with the frustrations of Roman turning into a storyline later with the Usos. And then, of course, with Bronson Reed having a new steam of momentum. Very great match. And I think that this match, alongside the John Cena versus AJ Styles match, of course, which some people are saying is match of the year. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with that. It's hard. The match of the year thing, it's hard to comment on it for anyone. So those are two huge matches that I really enjoyed on this Crown Jewel card.
All right, well, I'm going to break those two matches down, and again, the AJ Styles and John Cena match was not only the match of the year; it to me was a WrestleMania match. It was not only a WrestleMania match as you can define it as; it was basically a Hall of Fame match because you had two superstars who were going into the Hall of Fame. They put on a fantastic show. It was a WrestleMania match. It was just one of these matches where we got to see two legends going at it for the very last time. And what a way to entertain us by getting this match. Without a shadow of a doubt, pro wrestling fans, we were not to expect anything less. So again, this was the best match on the card. It was a WrestleMania match. It was a Hall of Fame match, whatever you want to call it. In my personal opinion, that's what it was. Let's talk about the Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns match. So here's the problem that I have with this match particularly. It wasn't the fact that Bronson Reed got the match and won it. To me, it was more about the outside interference. I get more frustrated every single time where I talked about this on my podcast, and I said simply this. We need to stop having outside interference. Now, outside interference does play a role sometimes in these matches, but at the end of the day, this match between Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns should have ended clearly one-on-one without any outside interference. If Roman Reigns wanted to get Bronson Reed over, it should have been done by himself, by themselves, to give Bronson Reed that win. But at the end of the day, Bronson Reed got that victory. There was clear outside interference, of course. And yes, the question now remains, what are they going to do with Bronson Reed, especially what transpired on Monday Night Raw, which we should probably talk about. I'm sure we will, and we'll probably get into that briefly. But at the end of the day, my whole thing is now, what is the future for Bronson Reed? Hell, what is the future for Braun Breaker? We're probably going to break that down as well. But overall, it was an exciting match to watch. Even the Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. It was a great match. It was fun. It was entertaining. And what I talked about when I broke down the Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Valkyrie, it's the same thing here. The women's division's on fire, pro wrestling fans, and we need to acknowledge that. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get better. And it proved why the women keep continuously putting their bodies on the line and showing us why they feel they're equal to the men. And I firmly believe that. They've got my attention. And I'm just so proud to say that, they're defining themselves that way equally. And Crown Jewel in itself was, it was entertaining. I don't necessarily think it was a 10. I do think that, the storylines were definitely built up and the hype was there. But overall, though, I have to say that it was it was well worth watching the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'll say, I'll agree with you in the fact that this show wasn't a 10, but I will say this card felt stronger than most WWE premium live event cards as of recent, and it even delivered to be so. Great work by WWE with Crown Jewel, and we will definitely talk about the fallout of Monday Night Raw and the vision towards the end of this show. Before we get there, let's talk about what also happened this weekend, this past weekend. TNA Bound for Glory, right? We have two big headlines coming out of the TNA Bound for Glory pay per view. One of them being Mike Santana becoming our new TNA World Champion, and then the second one being Steve Macklin going ahead and regaining TNA's International Championship, which I think every person in the planet seems to be happy about just because Steve Macklin is the sauce. He is one of the most underrated wrestlers in 2025, and I'm fully comfortable saying that. I also, before I turn it over to MTG, our TNA guy, want to give a shout out to the Inspiration because I was unable to represent their recent Knockouts World Tag Team Championship victory because this is a show covering the past 2 weeks opposed to the past week. We just weren't able to get on last weekend. So I do want to give a shout out to the Inspiration, who are going to be leaders and generals of TNA's Knockouts Tag Team Division, right where they should be, as they should be. Other than those two big headlines, consisting of Mike Santana with the TNA World Championship and Steve Macklin once again having TNA's International Championship, MTG, what stood out to you on this TNA Bound for Glory pay per view?
Really great show, but I wouldn't give it a 10 out of a 10. I'd probably give it like a 9 or 8.5. Only because that really great match, it was for the X Division title between Leon Slater and Javon Evans. My first time seeing Javon Evans, I don't watch NXT, but that guy's amazing. Javon Evans is an amazing athlete, amazing wrestler, can do all these high flying skills. It's just that the problem with that match, I really wanted to end by pinfall. And I get that, and I get that the interference, like what Famous B says, interference doesn't always have to happen. And that night wasn't the right time for a great match to be in by interference. Can't always can't always let that happen. Because sometimes if I watch a really great match like that, I'm gonna hate the finish that it was an interference. Like an interference is the reason why it was a draw. So that's why Leon Slater is still the X Division champion. I was rooting for Leon Slater because I wanted him to keep that X Division title in TNA because I'm on Team TNA over NXT any day. If you were to ask me who I rooted for in this war that's going on between NXT and TNA, Mike Santana, I knew he was gonna win the belt from Trick Williams, and I'm glad he did. And I jumped up for Mike Santana, and Mike Santana is now the best wrestler they have right now. Now that he's the world champion, so congrats to Mike Santana. You are the new TNA world champion. And the best part is his mentor Conan came out with him. That was a cool part. And the Trick Williams and Mike Santana match was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And the highlight that everybody was waiting for was Team 3D and the Hardys one last time. People were all looking forward to that. And the match was, I mean, the Hardys did mainly their original spots. You know, Jeff climbing up top of the ladder during the Swanton, and the Hardys putting Jeff through a table with the 3D. Well, I'm sorry, the Dudleys were putting Jeff Hardy through a table with the 3D, and and then both Matt and Jeff put Bubba Ray or Bully Ray or Brother Ray, whatever you want to call them, and the on the table. So that match was because the Dudleys they're pretty much, well, Devon is rusty. Bubba, he still wrestles on the indies, and sometimes he'll wrestle a few matches in Impact. So Devon was rusty, but Bully has still have a little in him. Even though Devon is retired, Bully is still going around wrestling in the indies, and sometimes would wrestle a match in TNA. And yeah, so that was an emotional night. At the end of the match, both teams shook hands, hugged each other, It was an emotional moment because it was an end of an era for the wrestling's tag division, seeing two of the best tag teams go at it one final time. And I was honored as a wrestling fan to watch those two teams go at it one last time. So it was cool. I'm glad that TNA did that. And then we had the TNA Knockouts title match, Kalani Jordan versus Indy Hartwell. I had Indy Hartwell winning the match, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. And Kalani Jordan is my first time seeing her wrestle. She's pretty good. Hell, I might start using her on WWE 2K whenever I get a chance. And that was a great match between her and Indy. They really had a good match. And the Call Your Shot Battle Royal, the Gauntlet Battle Royal match that they do every year for Bound for Glory, both Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian picked up the win. And it's crazy because both Frankie and Nick were trying to cash in on Mike Santana right after the match, but Mike Santana put a stop to that. And it's going to be an interesting segments in the next few episodes of Impact between Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth over the trophy, over the Bound for Glory trophy that both of them won, because they both double pin at the same time, and both referees kind of 1, 2, 3. That's how both of them won. And let's see. Oh yeah, and then the Inspiration retained their tag titles against the Elegance brand. It's cool to see that. So overall, the show was 8.5 out of 10.
Right on, man. Seems like TNA is absolutely on the up and up, especially with Mike Santana as their world champion. It is a shame that the finish to the X Division Championship match was blundered by the Dark State run in. But I do think that the future of the X Division Championship is in good hands as well with this talent pool, not only from TNA, but NXT as well, as we saw with Javon Evans. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for the future of TNA. Anything else to say before we move on?
Yes, yeah, that X Division title match would have been match of the night if only those guys haven't interfered. But the match of the night was Mike Santana and Trick Williams. So overall,
Absolutely, man.
I can't wait for Impact this Thursday because I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a whole celebration for Mike Santana, and I will be watching that. And I want to see who his. Well, I think his first feud is gonna be against Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian because they try to cash in on him at Bound for Glory. So there you go.
It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens with the whole Frankie Kazarian Nick Nemeth situation. It's kind of hilarious, and I just hope that they're able to take it somewhere productive, which I have no reason to doubt that they won't, or doubt that they will. And if that wasn't enough, guys, we got Crown Jewel, we got TNA Bound for Glory, and then we also had New Japan, King of Pro Wrestling. And this is a show that New Japan took to start a new beginning, really. Um, we have a ton of new champions coming out of this King of Pro Wrestling show that New Japan put on early Monday morning for us Americans. First and foremost, the biggest thing, Konosuke Takeshita is our new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. The main guy of New Japan, Konosuke Takeshita, Japanese star, pretty much getting his popularity, if not in pro wrestling, Noah, but in AEW, is now the main champion of New Japan. This is nuts. It seems some maybe can argue that this is early for Takeshita, but in my mind, the boot fits. Takeshita's a star. We all know this. And here he is, our new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. But wait, there's more. I sound like Billy Mays on one of those infomercials, but wait, there's more. We also have Yota Tsuji regaining the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. And we can only hope for the best with that because we know that this reign that Gabe Kidd has had with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship hasn't been all that good. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure injuries are to blame for this, but I really do want to see some fortuitous title reigns over there at New Japan. I think Takeshita can do that with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. In fact, I'm pretty confident he will. I'm hoping they let Yota Tsuji go ahead and show the world who the heck he is with that IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship reign that he is currently on. And then we also had two other championship changes. We had Evil once again winning the Never Openweight Championship. I'm sure that'll be fine. Then we had Suri winning the IWGP Women's Championship, which I also have faith that that will be great. This seems to be a new leaf for New Japan Pro Wrestling as they have four new champions off of one show, and they are getting ready to go right into Wrestle Kingdom at the top of 2026. So this seems like perfect for me, at least with Konosuke Takeshita and Yota Tsuji going ahead and being prominent champions going into next year's Wrestle Kingdom, right? These are guys that I think are the most prominent on that New Japan roster right now. I'm sure we'll see Zack Sabre Jr. at some capacity at Wrestle Kingdom. El Fantasmo, I'm sure we'll see all that New Japan has to offer. But I'm completely satisfied seeing Takeshita win the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, win the big one over there in New Japan, and then going ahead and seeing Yota Tsuji get a nice chance with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship, which I think belongs on a guy like Yota Tsuji. I think this will help Yota Tsuji become a huge star, and I hope for that to happen. So yeah, good on New Japan. Looks like they're getting ready to take full shape into Wrestle Kingdom at the top of next year as we are in Q4 of 2025. With that being said, I think it's time to talk some UFC before we get into the watch list. And that's what I have my boy Ant, aka Heel Synergy, here for. We're here to talk some UFC 320 very briefly with the headline coming out of UFC 320's main event, where we saw Alex Pereira regain the UFC light heavyweight championship of the world. What else stuck out to you from this card very briefly, Ant? UFC 320 was absolutely a must needed banger from UFC, and it delivered. It definitely delivered.
Oh yeah, man, it absolutely delivered. It's definitely like this is definitely one of those cards that I would like highly recommend. If you're not an MMA fan, this is one of those cards you gotta watch. But let's talk about Alex Pereira regaining his title. So if you didn't know what happened, I'll do a quick result. Pereira dropped Ankalaev early and finished him with ruthless elbows, and the fight ended in a TKO. So what I liked, dude, Pereira came out sharp. He looked aggressive, and he looked like you could tell, like as soon as that stare down was, as soon as that stare down finished, like you knew, like this is a whole different Alex Pereira. Like he studied Ankalaev to the point. Like, and there was like, I don't know if it was fear from Ankalaev or what, but like he did not look the same. He did not look like the same guy who defeated Alex all those months ago. But what I liked was, yeah, that right hand, man. That right hand dropped Ankalaev was perfectly timed. And those follow up shots, God, those were beautiful, man. Whoo! Man, that was perfect, man. Alex is back, man. Like, I don't even know where he can go at this point. I mean, maybe Alex can fight. Maybe he can fight Olberg, Carlos Olberg, or maybe he can do a trilogy with Yuri Prohaska. If you saw the pay per view, Yuri was literally crying, like he was in awe of that performance from Pereira. It was awe inspiring, man. It was just amazing.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We got some pretty fun UFC coming up with UFC 321 happening at the end of October. We're going to see Tom Aspinall in his first fight as UFC heavyweight champion of the world. He's been interim champion for years. We're finally done with the John Jones mess, and we know that Aspinall is going into this fight to defend the UFC heavyweight championship of the world finally. We also have UFC 322 happening next month in November. We have Islam Makhachev and Zhang Wei Li, two of the most dominant champions that UFC has ever produced, defending their belts on the same card. But wait, there's more. We have UFC 323 to close out the year, where we will see Merab Dvalishvili go ahead and defend the belt once again on short notice against Peter Yan. Okay, and then we also get to see the much anticipated Alexander Pantoja versus Joshua Van, which was set up in both of their last fight. So we have some very exciting UFC going into 2026.
Oh
And
yeah.
2026 will mark the first year that UFC gets out of the pay-per-view system, as Paramount Plus and a monthly subscription to Paramount Plus will get you access to those UFC numbered events. Very exciting for UFC. There was a bit of a lull, you know. I think it happens naturally with the sport of UFC and MMA for there to be such a lull, especially because these fighters need time to recover, time to train. They can only fight about twice a year. Um, so it happens, right? Low points in MMA, UFC specifically, definitely happen. But right now, it just feels like we're on such a high with the way that these next three pay per views look to close out the year, and then knowing that we are going to get UFC numbered events on Paramount Plus starting next year. It seems like UFC is back. I'm not saying it ever left. I just feel like it definitely had a bit of a lull, and now it's completely out of that. Would you
No,
agree, Ant?
I agree with you on that for sure, man. Like it was a little bit of a struggle. I mean, with Uncle Live as champion, and then you had like not so many entertaining fights. I mean, if you go back and listen to our podcast a few months ago, I was really complaining about how like we aren't getting the big fights anymore. Like, well, now that I've changed my tune, like now we're getting the fights we want to see. Josh Van versus Pantoja. We got UFC 323. Or is it Jan versus Marab? Like, it's a hell of a way to finish, man. I think buckle up, man. It's gonna be a hell of a ride. I can't wait.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think if you're a pro wrestling fan listening to this podcast and UFC has ever intrigued you at any capacity, I think now's a great time to hop in on the numbered pay per views. You know, you're talking one show a month, nothing too crazy. We also have Zuffa Boxing coming in 2026, right? Dana White, a big player with UFC, is getting back into the boxing game. Just want to mention that it will be interesting to see what comes of that. You know, I know Ant and I can talk about this boxing game and what it's going to look like in 2026 for ages, but I'm happy to move on unless you want to go ahead and say something about it, Ant.
I don't know what this Zuffa boxing is gonna look like. I'm actually really excited though. I hear that they're gonna try to get like all the big name fighters. I mean, I guess like, we can expect it kind of like how like they did Canelo and Crawford. I guess. I mean, that was technically under Dana White. So if we can get those big money fights all the time, man, then hey, we're set, man. It's like I said, this is the best time to be a martial arts fan or like a fan of combat sports because we are eating good, man. What a time it is to be a fight fan.
Yeah, man.
Woo!
At all levels, it's fantastic. I mean, pro wrestling is as good as it's been in decades. UFC is turning a new leaf and starting a new era. And then we have the same people that have brought success to MMA with UFC going ahead and getting into the boxing business. You know, I'll tell you this real quick, and I don't want to get into it too much, but I have a fear that, I'll just tell you this and then we'll move on. Dana White has confirmed that Zuffa Boxing will not feature the WBA, WBC, WBO, or IBF championship belts. They will not be featuring the sanctioned belts. They will be making their own belts. Now, I think initially when I heard this, I became very reluctant, right? Because I do
Right.
have love, I know that boxing is corrupt and the sanctioning bodies of boxing, the big four, are very corrupt in their own unique ways, each of them. However, I just was hoping that Dana White would be our savior and bring these belts together. It seems like he's not going to be trying to bring the four belts together in every division, right? It seems like he's going to challenge the status quo and he's going to challenge the hierarchy with his own weight division championships, which will make things crazy and interesting to say the least. Boxing in 2026 is going to be up in the freaking air with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing instead of facilitating the coming together of boxing like I thought they were going to, challenging the status quo of boxing, which I will admit deserves to be challenged after years and years of politics and bullshit.
I'll agree with you on that one.
Okay?
I'll agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll give you the floor real quick to talk, and then we got to move on, brother.
No, I mean, just I like you said, like Dana White's challenging the status quo. I mean, he's been doing this. He's been doing the whole status, challenging the status quo since the UFC started, man. I think, like you said, the four main boxing organizations are corrupt. I mean, all the politics, all the bullshit. Like fighters don't want to fight each other. Like it's all corrupt, man. And I think if Zuffa Boxing and Dana White can get this off the ground, and they can get Zuffa Boxing all the way up here and challenge the IBF, the WBA, WBC, all of them. If they can challenge them, they're going to be in trouble. You're going to get all the top names are going to want to go fight in Zuffa Boxing. But it's going to be interesting, man. Um, it's really going to be real interesting.
Yeah, man. I don't, I don't know if I'm more excited or more nervous, which in itself makes an excitement for boxing in 2026. And we'll be here to talk about it, man. But we
Sure.
have at 31 minutes time to close out this show with the watch list. Now, it is Tuesday, October 14th at the time of this recording. Monday Night Raw has already happened. And we have something huge to talk about that I briefly want to ask every single member of this show about. As the Vision has turned on Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker and Bronson Breed have aligned themselves against Seth Rollins. Every single member of the Vision is against Seth Rollins as of the end of this past episode of Monday Night Raw. We know that there are rumors of injury with Seth Rollins' shoulder, and this may be a reaction to that. We know that Seth Rollins has already faked one injury this year. A lot going on with Seth Rollins and his previous faction, the Vision, who seem to now be against him after beating him up to close out the show. Braun Breaker holding that World Heavyweight Championship seems to be going after the World Heavyweight Championship and going after Seth Rollins. Now, I want to ask you guys, what's coming? What's in the pipeline? What's happening? This is crazy. Let's hear some brief reactions from each and every one of you. Let's hear it, Ant. Start us off.
All right, I'll start off. This whole Vision thing, man. I feel like they did the heel turn a little too early because I mean this is only brewing for what since WrestleMania. So I get it. Rollins is hurt, and you're gonna want to like do something else. But I feel like they didn't like get too far with like them breaking up. Like I mean, yeah, we saw signs of Heyman saying like, "Oh, why did I choose you?" or whatever, like, or "I regret picking you," whatever the hell. But like I feel like there could have been more to tell with the story, and I feel like if the rumors are true about Brock Lesnar, possibly being the new leader, I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, I guess it could work, but at the same time, I feel like you need Rollins at the same time. But I don't know. I just feel like 5 months in and you're already breaking them up. Like they could have been something special, but honestly, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we'll see where this goes.
I'm with you in the fact that it feels like the Vision just started, and the fact that they broke up. It's a double-edged sword, right? It's tough because yeah, it feels like they broke them up before they even started anything, but it also feels like it was super unexpected, and that's what pro wrestling is all about. Pro wrestling is at its best when it's unexpected. I want to hear from you, Miguel. What do you think, man? I'm sorry, MTG. What do you think, brother?
Look, it was way too soon to break that faction up already. Because I thought later on down the line, maybe like 2 years, they were gonna stay together. I gave it about 2 years for them to stay together, and I thought that Braun Breaker was gonna pull off a Batista, just like how Batista betrayed Evolution on Seth Rollins. I thought Braun Breaker was gonna do exactly what Batista did to Seth Rollins, but it was just way too soon. Like you started this faction, it wasn't around that long, but I'm interesting. What I'm interested in, the interesting question I have is, are they gonna push Braun Breaker that real soon now? Is Braun Breaker gonna be a soon star? Maybe. And now that Seth is injured, I feel like they might start building Braun Breaker now.
And is Seth really injured? Can we trust that? I doubt that they faked 2 injuries in 1 year for Seth Rollins, but I mean, it's a valid question after we all got bamboozled at SummerSlam, which was a lot of fun. And honestly, part of me thinks that seeing this unexpected turn with the Vision and Seth Rollins, because it was so unexpected, it makes it so much fun. We can't wait for the next episode of Raw now. And when can we say that? We almost never say that in 2025. We can't wait to see where this is going. Who's the babyface? Who's the heel? What the hell is going on? Sound off, Famous B. Let's hear it.
Hey, again, what a fun time to be a pro wrestling fan. We have all and can agree that the story ended way too quickly. Some say, is Seth Rollins really hurt this time, or are they just playing a little game with us? Was this whole turn just a little game that they're playing to get us fans to believe that they're really separated? That is the biggest thing for me, because we've seen this before with Seth Rollins being hurt, coming back and completely shocking us. And then on Monday Night Raw, the same thing happened where he had Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker turned against him. Can that be just a little fluke? The bottom line is, being a pro wrestling fan and being podcasters, we all get to witness this whole big storyline. And again, is this the end of the Vision? Yeah, some say, well, yeah, this story, wasn't complete. It should have been a little longer. I fully agree. I think that at the end of the day, it was way too soon to break them up. But again, pro wrestling fans, this is what I'm talking about. And I have said this, and it's pretty clear. Always expect the unexpected, because shit can happen and go down at any given point in time. So I am not too sure if this was a complete breakup. Maybe this is just one of them things where they're going to again amaze us, make us believe that this is over, or maybe it truly is over. But again, what a way and a fun time to become a pro wrestling fan and get to witness all that goes on.
Yeah, man. It's nuts. And if we didn't have a reason to be excited for next week's Monday Night Raw, then here are 4 other reasons to be excited for next week's Monday Night Raw. Starting with Stephanie Vaquer defending the Women's World Championship against Roxanne Perez. But wait, there's more. As Becky Lynch defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Maxine Dupree. But wait, there's freaking more. As Dominic Mysterio defends the Intercontinental Championship against Rusev. But wait, there's more. As the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and JD McDonough defend the World Tag Team Championship against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. 4 title matches for next week's Monday Night Raw. Jeez Louise. This fallout between Seth Rollins and the Vision would have been enough to get us to get excited about what's next. No, you got 4 freaking title matches also happening on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. Jeez. But before we get there, man, AEW has a busy week in store for us. Let's look at that. Let's unpack that, starting with AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, as the Ops defend the AEW World Trios Championship against the Don Callis family. CMLL, Viernes Espectacular on Friday, Super Friday, or in this case, Spectacular Friday for CMLL. Viernes Espectacular. We will see the CEO, Mercedes Moné, defending the CMLL World Women's Championship against Persephone. Hey, I'm gonna do my CEO dance on camera right now. Hey, I'm just playing it. You guys got to pay for that. I'm just kidding. Link in bio. Just kidding. Um, so yeah, we got two big matches on two separate shows before we even get into the AEW WrestleDream pay-per-view this upcoming Saturday. Let's go ahead and look at the card for this thing. We have a women's singles match between Jamie Hayter and Tekla. We have the Hurt Syndicate facing Ricochet in the Gates of Agony once again. We have a $500,000 tag team match as the Young Bucks take on Jurassic Express in what is a highly anticipated tag team match out of AEW. And now let's get into the real big matches, which are the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, Brodito defending against Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita. We also have the TNT Championship match, probably the biggest TNT Championship match ever, between Kyle Fletcher, who's been a fantastic champion, defending against up-and-coming star, or should I say, obviously not up and coming. This guy's been a star for a while. He's just got some really huge momentum over there on AEW programming over the past couple of months, and that is Mark Briscoe. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe for the TNT Championship. Sign me up. But wait, it gets better. There's more as Jon Moxley faces Darby Allin in an I Quit match. This is a huge freaking match that AEW has been building for over a year. Here we are getting it on Saturday at WrestleDream. We have two more matches as Chris Statlander defends the AEW Women's World Championship against Timeless Tony Storm, the former champion. And we have Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World Championship against Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has the chance to show the world in this pay-per-view main event that he is that dude. Just a awesome card. Obviously, there's a possibility that we can get more matches announced on Dynamite this week. But so far, man, we have some pretty exciting matches. I think that the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express is going to be a high caliber tag team match that sweeps us off of our feet. Jamie Hayter and Tekla has the potential to sweep us off of our feet. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe is going to be a freaking banger. And then that I Quit match between Mox and Darby is just going to be the craziest thing that anyone has ever freaking seen. So let me ask you guys, is this card intriguing to you? Are you guys going to be watching WrestleDream this weekend? You already know I am going to be watching that shit. Let's hear it, Ant.
Oh yeah, man. Especially with that Darby and Moxley match. Shit, bro, that's gonna be a badass match, dude. Like you said, they've been building that up for a year, and now it all comes to a head. And you got Samoa Joe and Hangman. That's gonna be another good match. Like, this card is stacked from top to bottom, man. And of course, you got Chris Statlander, and who's she facing again? Tony Storm, correct?
Yep, she's facing the former
Rematch.
champ, Timeless Tony Storm.
A good match, man. I think it's gonna be a hell of a card, man. I can't wait. I'll be watching. AEW has just been on fire. They All Out was awesome. All In was absolutely incredible. But yeah, man, AEW is killing it, man. I'm excited for WrestleDream. Let's go! Woo!
MTG, what are we thinking, man? We excited for this AEW pay-per-view?
Absolutely. This Moxley and Darby Allin feud is the hottest feud right now because, like you said, they've been building this up for a year, and the Hangman and Joe match is going to be good. This is Hangman's best title run. This is better than the first one he had. So Hangman's doing a real great job being the top guy, being the champion of the show. Kyle Fletcher, his TNT title run has been amazing as well. Him and Mark Briscoe are going to have a great match, but I think Kyle Fletcher is going to retain. And I'm actually pulling for Darby to win this entire feud against the Death Riders. And And Adam Page is going to beat Joe. And who are the tag team champions going to be defending?
Yeah, man. So Brody King and Bandito will be facing off against Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada for the World Tag Team titles.
Oh man, something bad is gonna happen in that match because if you've been watching Dynamite the last few weeks, both Okada and Takeshita seems like they're not really getting on the same page, and Don Callis is trying to get them on the same page. But I don't know what's the story behind Okada and Takeshita. I don't know if they had a rivalry in New Japan because I'm not a New Japan guy, and like. Or that's going to be interesting, and the women's match is going to be real good. Tony Storm versus Chris Statlander. That's gonna be a banger. So this whole pay per view is gonna be a banger.
Yeah, man, it's exciting to see Chris Statlander get this one-on-one huge match, especially going into it as champion. I could totally see Konosuke Takeshita going ahead and facing Okada twice, once in New Japan and once in AEW. Okada winning the one in AEW and Takeshita winning the one in New Japan, probably at Wrestle Kingdom, ironically enough, which is hilarious because obviously Takeshita's an
Yeah,
AEW guy and Okada's a New Japan guy at heart. So I could see a lot of cool stuff happening, and I could see that tag team title match being the next chapter in the story of the eventual feud between Takeshita and Okada.
yeah, and the Don Callis family, they're gonna be trying to take over everything. They're gonna try to take all the best. They're gonna try to take over the entire company. I mean, I pretty much love all the members of the Callis family. All the Don Callis family is great.
It's like, dude, like this was a shit show of a faction for the longest time. The Don Callis family was, having members come and leave and come and go, look like a come and go gas station for God's sakes. But you got this Don Callis family that's unified. You got about 9 to 10 guys in it that are all badass and all serve a purpose, and it's exciting, man. I feel like they've come such a long way, and kudos to AEW for finding a way to make it happen for the Don Callis family.
Yeah, and they don't need to be adding no more members, and that's where I'm gonna stop off.
At this point, I have faith. If they want to add someone else, I think they can make it work because over the past couple months, they've been actually doing really well. Famous B,
Right.
our big WWE guy, also has a lot of love and respect for AEW, but it's always unique to get your take on how AEW is doing because
I'm gonna
it's
tell.
let's hear it. Let's
I'm
hear
gonna
it.
tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what. Hey, I'm impressed. What a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. That's just the bottom line. The bottom line is, what a great time to be a pro wrestling fan. Hey, I'm going to give AEW their props. And I want to make this very clear because I know a lot of you fans out there think, hey, Famous B is just a WWE guy and he doesn't watch other programs and so on and so forth. Let me tell you guys something. AEW in no way, shape, or form is not fun to watch. They never, ever, ever not impress me. Their pay-per-views have been standard. Their shows are getting better. But more importantly, I want you guys to know that I do not want any company to fail. Now, hear me out on that. This is important that you understand this. I do not want any company to fail. I want them to succeed. So by us getting an opportunity to watch all of these companies says a lot. I am impressed with what they're doing. They never, ever, ever let us down on pay-per-views, and the shows are getting better. So this needs to continue. And I'm just saying, what a time to be a pro wrestling fan. Every match on the card for AEW is going to be exciting. It will continue to be exciting. But I just wanted to come on here and let you all know what an outstanding time to be a pro wrestling fan. And I am fired up for all of it. And not only that, before we close out the show, I want to let you guys know this. You are not only getting pro wrestling information, you're getting UFC information. And all of this right here, all of us right here are going to continue to give you just that. When you talk about pro wrestling fans, you talk about MTGA Gaming, you talk about Lights Out's podcast, you talk about wrestling bullshit, you talk about you're talking about Famous B. But when you want UFC information, you're going to go to Lights Out's podcast. He is going to bring it to you day in and day out. When you talk about pro wrestling podcasts, you're talking about three men who are energetic, who are fired up, who are ready, who are going to give it to you every single day. Woo! I'm fired up. Let's go. This podcast is all about entertainment for us, by us, and for you. Mic drop. I am done. I'm going to turn it back over to Wrestling's Bullshit. Woo! Famous B is out.
I mean, how do I follow that up, man? I can't say it any better. We just provided on a high level. I honestly don't see anyone doing this. I don't see anyone talking about WWE previewing the upcoming AEW pay-per-view and covering at a high level not only what the hell just happened over in New Japan, but what is in the pipeline for a show like CMLL. What is in the pipeline for a sport like boxing, which now has heavy ties to TKO, the owners of WWE, and going ahead and looking at the scope of UFC and talking about how awesome that is. Talk about the range, baby. This is the place to be. Honestly, we strive to be unlike anyone else. Get in here and go ahead and show you guys the range of entertainment. This is a show that is going to introduce you to new things, whether we're introducing you to UFC or New Japan or even AEW. Maybe we're introducing you to AEW. Maybe we're introducing you to WWE. We have it all here. It's all here. I'm so excited, and I'm glad that we handled that heavy ass show in under an hour. I'm proud of all my guys right here. I'm going to give Ant and then MTG after the opportunity to sign off, and then we're getting the hell out of here and we're watching some playoff baseball. Go Dodgers. Looks like these guys are ready to go.
All right.
Oh, we ready, Ant? Let's hear it.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Just want to say, real quick, shout out Famous B, shout out MTG, shout out my dog. Wrestling's Bullshit. If you don't know where to find me, I'm on IG, Heel Synergy. Look at the name. I'm here to talk UFC, and I'm here to have fun with you guys, man. Let's go. I'm out of here, guys. Heel Synergy out. Big dogs for life. Boom. Woo! Let's go.
MTG, let's hear it, baby.
This is MTG Gaming. Thanks for joining us with this conversation and everything. You can find me on YouTube, MTG Gaming, with this profile picture right there, as you can see right there. That's how the profile page looks like. Watch all of our battles from WWE 2K25 from me and my boy Here's Energy. We always kick each other's asses a lot. So subscribe on my YouTube channel, and that's where you can find me.
All right, guys. 1975 wrestling fan, aka Famous B. You guys know where to go. Go to the Instagram right now. Give me a follow as I talk about WWE. Follow me on Instagram. I'm right on there. But guys, more importantly, follow all of us, guys. We are the real deal. We're going to give you the excitement. We're going to give you the passion. We're going to give you the desire. So yes, follow us all. We are the real deal. We love to have fun. And I will close it out with Wrestling's Bullshit.
Hey, man, this is the Wrestling is Bullshit podcast. Stay tuned in. We will keep you informed. We will keep you ready to watch and expand your horizons of wrestling when you are ready. Expand it to TNA, expand it to WWE, expand it to AEW, expand it to New Japan, expand it to CMLL, expand it to UFC, expand it to boxing. It's all here, baby. Wrestling is Bullshit. We love you. Signing off.